Hi there, it's Kyla Martin, coaching you to the career and life that you imagined. On this episode, I want to show you how I create my annual vision board. And it's a little bit different than probably most vision boards or goal setting approaches that you've seen. So I wanted to walk you through my process and give you some background on why I use this specific process. So I create a vision board that is kind of twofold. And part of the reason is because I want to give my brain some visionary things to focus on. And then I also want to give it some very specific things to focus on. And the reason is because our brain is almost like a missile, and it needs direction to tell it what to focus on. If left to its own devices, it's going to always revert to our primal needs. Motivational triad, if you've heard that term. And that is to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and be efficient. And that's why it feels so fantastic to lie on the sofa and eat the holiday leftovers. It's also why your brain will try and tell you that it is safer, literally safer, to stay in the job that you're in instead of potentially pursuing the career that you really want, your purpose that you really want to go after. And so I want to give you a process that you can use in your own life to create a vision board that will help direct your brain and help overcome your lower brain that will tell you at the end of the day, you're tired, you don't have time to work on the life you really want, and it is safer to stay in the life that you already have because you know how to be successful there. My clients are incredibly successful in the jobs that they're already in. They're experts in their field. And so their brain tells them all the time that they should just stay where they are. They know how to be successful. They continue to get promoted. But yet there's this little whisper, this little nudge that they know there is something greater in their life. They know that there is something that they love to do, they get lost in, they can't believe that would be a job. All of those provide the whispers toward the life that they really were meant to live. And so, as we kick off 2021, thank goodness, we want to start directing our brain to tell it where to go in the next year so that it doesn't stay on autopilot and it doesn't keep doing basically the same thing it's always done. Now, understanding that our brain is wired for survival is really important because if we know that, then not only can we do things to help overcome it, hack it, I call it, but we can also use that knowledge to be kinder to ourselves. If you're anything like me, you use a lot of willpower, use a lot of self-loathing potentially to try to will yourself to the life that you want. And in reality, we will always run out of willpower because willpower comes from our lower brain. Willpower is what we use to get out of the cave and gather some food. And it's also what we use to in our lives that we live now. It's what we use a lot of the time to summon up what we need to go after what we're looking for in that moment, but it's usually not sustainable in the long term. What is sustainable and what is 1,000 times easier is to give our brain direction and use our higher brain, the prefrontal cortex, if you've heard that term, to create new habits, new neural pathways to the life that we actually want. And once we uncover what that life is, we create an action plan to go get it, we will literally start to create habits to that life. And that is some of the best news I have for you. You do not have to use willpower for the rest of your life to get what you want, even if that's what you've been doing up until now. Let's use the highest part of our brain where things sound like, that's so easy. I can't believe that's all I have to do. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for all of my clients who want to live the life and create the career that they actually imagined. So let me first show you some of my supplies that I have. So first I went and got, there's a poster board over here. First, I just went and got a poster board. Mine's white, but you can certainly get whatever color you want. And I just got one at my local pharmacy. Obviously, you can get them at a lot of different places or order it online. And then I would also start gathering up some magazines. So I am determined that there's going to be some travel later this year. So I have a couple of magazines here. And then I like to create craftiness around my vision board. So I have some markers, and then I also have some stickers. And then I also have been collecting a couple of inspirational postcards that I've picked up at different things when we used to go to conferences, perhaps. And the one that I'm going to put on my board this year is really a reminder, because it is the foundation of the way that I structure my practice, the reason I created my practice. So for me, I also believe in adding things to your vision board that create abundance in your life. And the way that you create abundance is by focusing on the things that you already have. So some might call it gratitude, I call it abundance, but it gives your brain goodness to start with, and that helps create more and more momentum. So the quote is Brene Brown, one of my favorites, and it says, true belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. And again, that is the essence of the process that I use in my practice to help my clients uncover and create the life and career that they imagined. So this is just a inspirational card that I will be using on my board. And then again, because I'm crafty, I also have some cute tape that I will be using. And then obviously some scissors are helpful to cut some things out of the magazines. But this is where my vision board process starts to change, probably what you've seen before. And again, I know that there's many processes for vision boards and also for goal setting. But the way that I create my vision board is to incorporate the visionary aspects that I want my brain to go after, but also the very specific goals that I want to direct my brain toward. Because again, as I said, the more that we direct our brain, the more that we can help it stay in higher brain and not go into that primal autopilot that it loves to stay in. So one of the processes that I use in my practice is creating career and life outcomes. And that practice includes starting with the end. So if you've read the book by Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the habits is to start with the end. And the reason we start with the end is so that our higher brain can stay turned on. Your lower brain, if you're standing right here, beginning of January in 2021, will say, yeah, we want to go after those things, but we have no idea how to do it. There's no roadmap for this. We've never done this before. And it will try and stop you because it wants to be efficient, seek pleasure, and avoid pain. So we have to hack our brain to access the highest part. And the way that we do that is by starting with the end. So in my practice, one of the aspects of this process is to not only create the outcomes that you want to say at the end of your life, but we work backwards to keep our higher brain turned on, to create a work back plan to help us get from where we're standing to where we're going. But again, most people work forward. We're going to work backwards. So if we've come up with what our 5 outcomes are, and I always use, if you want to think about your eulogy, if you want to think about, friends and family at a relative's house sitting around talking about your incredible life, what would they say? what are the things that they would say about you? What are the 5 things, 5 to 7 things you want them to say? What are the things you want to say about yourself at the end of your life? So come up with what those 5 things are. And then we want to create, again, a work back plan. And if you want to go deeper into this work, certainly contact me. I'd love to help you with this process. But basically, you're going to create mile markers between the end of your life and today. And I recommend, maybe 25 years, 10 years, 5 years, 1 year. And once you get back to the 1 year, then those are the aspects of the goal, the long-term goal that you will include on your vision board. And then that way you're giving your brain that specificity that it knows what to go after in the year ahead. The example or the analogy I always give is if you're buying a new car, if you're in the market for a new car, you will start to see that car on the road everywhere. Now, that car has been there the whole time, but you've told your brain, this is what we're looking for now. It's the same thing. We're going to be doing the same thing with your goals for your career and your life and adding them to your vision board. But as I said, my vision board is kind of twofold. So I will add my goals for the coming year using the work back plan and the goals for year 1. But then I'm also going to add some visionary inspiration, as it were. And so I'm going to go through some of these magazines and go through some of the postcards that I've collected this year. And I'm going to put those on my vision board as well. Because as I said, I also want to stand in the abundance of the incredible things that I already have. And then I also want to give my brain some space to noodle on its own. So there's going to be words and phrases and pictures that I'm drawn to in these magazines. And I may not even exactly know why that I'm drawn to them, but I'm going to start attaching those to my vision board and give my brain some space over the next year to simply ponder and maybe give me some ideas for additions to my work back plan or additional goals that I want to add to my overarching plan. And so I just want to give it some space to continue to dream, continue to stand in abundance, and then also the specificity to giving it direction for the next year. I keep my vision board in my office. I pretty much look at it every day for the whole year. It's extraordinary to look at my vision board from last year and see how much of it has come true. And so again, I think the approach of kind of giving it some space and then giving it some specificity, it's things have happened this year that I couldn't have even imagined. And I didn't even have my higher brain hadn't kind of given me the whole story yet. And so that's why I want to kind of give it some space to focus, but then also dream and again, stand in abundance. So those are kind of the 3 elements of my vision board. I hope that you will start to create your vision board and take a small step to the life and career that you imagined. If you need help or would like to take this work deeper, please check out my website or my social channels, kylamartinconsulting.com. And if you want to see the end product of my vision board, you will need to sign up for my weekly email. I'll be sending a picture of it in my weekly email. It's very short and it just provides some actionable educational concepts to take this work further for you and give you some small steps that you can work on as you continue to move toward the life and career that you imagined. You can sign up for that at kylamartinconsulting.com/inspiration, or just click on the inspiration tab on my website. But as always, I'm cheering you on to an incredible 2021, to the career and life that you actually imagine for yourself. I hope that you will use this process to take a small step toward the beginnings of what that life and career looks like for you. And again, reach out to me if you need any help, but I am cheering you on from the sidelines and envisioning your dream career in life. Take care.